church, and she said, okay, so you can stay here and you will have everything you need, or you can come to the United States and you will have peace. We will have nothing, but we'll have peace. And so she gave us the opportunity to make that decision. So that was actually, Cheval, that was my first values-based decision that I've ever made. And I made the decision to come to the United States to be with my mother. And I was daddy's little girl, which was really difficult thing for me to do, is to leave my dad. Because outside of that, he was a good provider, and there were a lot of lessons that I learned from him as well. He eventually changed, and eventually he left alcohol, and he became just a wonderful person. But during that time, it was really difficult. So in one airplane ride, we went from riches to rags basically in 24 hours. So we became very poor. We moved into my mother's, my Aunt Ruby's house. And I remember when we moved there, she taught me etiquette. She said, this is where the glass goes, this is where the knife goes to the inside, you know, with the, anyway, all of that. She said, I'm an etiquette because someday you're going to dine with the President of the United States. And little did she know that 14 years later, I would be dining with President Bush. And that's another story. So I've been very fortunate. I feel like it's been just an amazing journey. So when we got here, I babysat and I cleaned houses. I was 12 years old, and so that I could help my mother. My mother started working in a factory, and she got paid 25 cents for each pair of jeans she sewed. So it was kind of like a sweatshop. So if you can imagine being a 45-year-old woman with 4 children from the ages of 19, 14, 12, and 6, and going from a place of society to working in a sweatshop and having to provide. The church would bring us food, and we bought our clothes in garage sales. And I just remember someday I'm going to reward my mother for what she did. So I worked really hard, and education was really important to me. So I graduated really early in high school. I had enough credits to graduate at the age of 15. And I was in every club. I was president of all kinds of different things. And I worked, and I was on the gymnastics team and so forth. But most importantly, I started working in a bank. And at the time, it was one of the major banks in the United States today. And I got my first paycheck, my first bonus. I became a branch manager, and it was a significant bonus. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
Sorry about that. It was a significant bonus, and my mother actually was on a break at the job, and I called her and I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm on a break. And I said, I want you to go to your boss's office, and I want you to tell your boss that today's your last day and you're never going to work again in your life. So I think together with the birth of my children, that was the happiest day of my life, when I got to retire my mother. So it was great. I took her to Mexico, and I spent my entire bonus on her. It was wonderful. The question of how I've been able to get to where I am, I think life is a journey, and I don't think I'm started actually. I run a $3 billion operation right now, and I'm very fortunate to be working for California Bank and Trust. It's a company that's got values that are congruent with my value system, and and that's something that is really important in my life. The people that I surround myself with are values-based people, are individuals who really embody their values. You hear about people that say, this is important for me, but their actions are different than what they say. So I'm very careful who I have in my life. And when I see that people are not congruent with their values, then it's okay. They don't have to be in my life. It's, you know, it's not for everybody. But I'm very careful. And the same way when I came to my employer, or even the university where I got my doctorate, Pepperdine University, I wanted to make sure that I was going to be with companies or university settings or organizations, and everything I do is based on values, and I'll walk you through that in just a little bit. Um, I needed to know that they embody the values that they espoused. For example, with the CEO of my bank, when I first started, I did a cultural study. It's a turnaround, because that's pretty much what I like to do, is just turnarounds in banks. And this was quite a big turnaround that we did. And we were driving in San Diego, and my youngest daughter was in basketball, and she had a basketball game that night. And I said, what time do you think we're going to be coming back from San Diego? Because my daughter's got hold on just 1 second. And so I said, my daughter's got a game, so what time do you think that's going to happen? And we're going to leave. So he started walking around to all of the leaders in the company saying, we have to leave because baby's daughter has a game. And he got me to my game on time. And
wow.
for CEO of a banking organization to care about someone's personal life was really interesting. And, you know, the collaborative nature of his leadership style is something that I really appreciate, because you make better quality decisions when that happens. So that was something else that I looked for. I didn't want to be told what to do. I know what I'm doing. I wanted to have a voice in the decisions that are made. And I felt like I really came into an organization where it really embodied what I do. So the organizations that I'm part of, for example, I just joined the board of the Rose Bowl. I'm the first woman on the board of the Rose Bowl Foundation, or the first woman voted into the board of the foundation. And I just got voted in on the 15th of this month. So that's really exciting. And one of the reasons I joined that particular board is because of their value system. This is, you know, it's America's Stadium. It's a place where we can really make a difference for children in the communities and bring them in and inspire them to go out, and we can bring some of the players to really talk to them. We can bring some of the leaders to really help promote the stadium, and also promote education and promote the vibrancy of our communities. So that is the kind of thing that I end up doing. The universities that I'm on the board of, Pepperdine, USC, Concordia University, are universities that really espouse their values and that are integrous and that really create trust. There's a level of trust that is set when you do that. So I guess the way that I have gotten to where I am, I work hard. You know, it doesn't matter how early I have to get up in the morning or how high I have to go. I work really hard. I volunteer a lot for things to be done, and that's important. I'm very careful who I surround myself with, and I carry a level of integrity that I think is important for people to know that if something's going to get done because I said it, not because I signed a piece of paper, or not because I have to. It's because of who I am. And it has nothing to do with who you are. It has all to do with who I am. I was having a conversation with my brother the other morning, because he moved here into my house this weekend. We were having a conversation. He said, you know, it's always who you are. It doesn't matter what your body's going through. It doesn't matter what things are going around in your life. Never forget who you are, And always remember that it doesn't matter what other people do. Even in a business setting, if a client does something, it doesn't cost me to change my values. It doesn't cost me to change who I am. If somebody else does something to me, the knee-jerk reaction normally is to react according to how they react to me. But I don't give people that kind of power. I know who I am, and I've got my values cemented from the time I was little. And so I always know who I am. I surround myself with people who are values-based individuals. Um, and when I do that, I hold everybody around me to that same level. They rise to that level, not because I say this is what I expect, because I am that person. I am integrity and I am my values. So if somebody, you could ask anybody in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., and in the places I've spoken around the world, who is Betty? And it's almost, if you think about your life and you think, if somebody were to put an ad about you, Cheval, the Cheval ad, who is Cheval? And put it right on Facebook and put it on Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram and put it all over. What would that look like? What would your viewers say about you, right? What would your family members say about you? And that's so if you answer that question, what would your boss say about you? What would the people around you, your co-workers, your employees, and then different levels down? I interviewed Bob Carr. He sold his company for $4.3 billion last year in December, and he was having a conversation with me the very day he sold it. He had done security in New York City, and we had an appointment to have a conversation because in a speaking engagement, one of his employees down the line said, "You have to talk to my CEO because he's got values that are so cemented." So long story short, I call him at a desk, and it sounded like he was in an airport, and said, "If you're busy, we can move it." He said, "No, this is good. I just went through security and I'm settled and we can talk." And he started asking me, "So what's it like to write a book?" I said, "Oh my gosh, it's like having a child." And because 9 months is gestation for a child, it's a 3-year gestation for my book. And he said, "Oh my goodness, I know what you mean. I just signed the contract. I just sold my company for $4.3 billion." And I screamed. I was in my office. I said, "What? And you're talking to me?" And he said, "I knew this was going to be a pleasant conversation." And so that's why I scheduled it right after signing my company away.
Oh, wow.
And I said, "So what's going on right now?" I'm thinking, "Oh my goodness, he's a billionaire today. He just became a billionaire." And so what's going through your mind? The first thing, think about it. What would you think if you just signed away your company and you're going to be receiving a couple $1 billion? He said, "It's my employees." He said, "I'm worried about my employees, and I hope my employees are going to be okay."
Oh, wow.
This is the value. General Mick Picklider is in the book. He is a 4-star general in the U.S. Army. He was in charge of the Army from the west of the United States to the east of China in the Saddam Hussein days. And he's the one that was called upon by the president at the time to go back and bring order into the country in a certain amount of time with a certain budget with a brand new team of people. And one of the things that I remember most about General Picklider is he said, and I talk about it in the book, he said, "At a given Sunday, you would find me in a synagogue, in a mosque, in a church." And I said, "Why would you do that?" He said, "Because that's where my troops needed me. They needed me to be with them, not to be in my big home and not to be in my Eiffel Tower office. they needed me there, and that's where my church needed me, so that's where I was. I have infinite number of stories about leaders who really led with their values. There's Raquel Bono today. She's an admiral in the U.S. Navy. She's in charge of all of the healthcare for the armed forces of the United States. She's a surgeon, and so he was operating on someone, and there were missiles going all over. And the knee-jerk reaction, because we're human, he said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe they expect me to operate in the middle of this." And then she stopped herself and she said, "Hey, I came to the Navy to save lives. So I don't care what's going on around me. I'm saving this life." And so she got checked in, and she went and she saved this man's life. In the middle of war, with missiles going all over, she just knew that this was what she wanted to do. So those are just a few examples of some of the leaders that I talked to, and some of the things that I have personally done to just make sure that I stay clear on. So I stay clear on my higher purpose. So I'm a banker, right? And my job is to increase the profitability of a bank and turn the bank around and really get the community to like us. Well, how do you do that? You do that by showing how much you care. It's not what you say, right? But what you do. So when you show the community genuinely care, the community rallies around you. We were just voted, excuse me, the #1 bank in Orange County the 3rd year in a row. When I came into the bank, nobody knew who we were. And so it's, and people say, "Well, how did you do that?" And I said, "Well, I went into the community and I asked them, what would you like a bank to do for you?" We're very non-traditional. We do different things for people that really add value to them. So that's a little bit of how we do that. Does that answer your question?
It does, big time. It is awesome there.